Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the happy rocket. Ooh. I think it's totally cute. It's intended for, I thought of more like a firework rocket, but I think that it's kind of like a little spaceship too, so I guess it's whatever you want it to be. It is a little band heavy, but it's so cute. Red that I used on here was 216, all the white was 252, and then the blue bands were 18. You can obviously break this down a little bit so you can change like the color of the fins and the color of the top here, change the color of the stripes. It just kind of however you want to break it up to make it different. I'm going to make one a little bit girly this time, so like pink fins, purple top, still be white with the purple and pink stripes, but just a little bit more girly than this one is. But we'll get started. So first we need to make eyes. If you're going to have eyes, I'm going to use the 9mm pony beads, but if you don't have beads, you can use bands. To have a large eye, it's two bands, smaller eyes, one band, but either way you would put them on the hook, wrap it around into a figure 8, grab both bands, wrap it around again, and then pull through two bands that are the color of your main body on your rocket, like that. So you'd want two of those. Cheeks are made the same way, just with one band on the hook, wrap into the figure 8, grab both bands, pull them around again, and then pull through two bands the color of your rocket body, like that. So you want two cheeks. And now we need to make the fins, which are like this, and we make them on the loom. I'll show you how to make one, and then you'll either have to kind of pause it after each step or rewind it and make the second one, or make them at the same time, however that works easiest for you. What we want to do is we're going to make one just like this, and we're going to use 4 pins here, right here on the right side. I have the wrong end facing towards me. It doesn't really matter when we do this, how we loom, but you want to drop 2 bands on 4 pins that are the color of your rocket body. Just 2. Like that. And then you want to take bands that are going to be the color of your fin, and we're going to start with a little zigzag that starts from the first one you dropped the bands on and finishes on the last one. So a little zigzag. These are double banded. Like that. Then we're going to start here on this pin. We're going to come out to here first, and then we'll do a zigzag stopping here. Like that. So now you want to take 2 bands on your hook and wrap them around 3 times. So 1, 2, then just grab half of it, 3. And 2 more bands. We'll pull those through, back on the hook, pull through 2 more bands, back on the hook, so like that. And this is going to go onto this top pin right here. So what we need to do is you're going to stick your hook back through that cap band, and there are 6 bands to make sure that you get your hook through. If you kind of pull it out, you can see whether or not you've grabbed all of them. Then you want to pull up 2 bands like we did here. If you keep your hook close to your loom, you shouldn't have any, this shouldn't pop off, but just pull it up, back on the hook, grab 2 more bands to pull up, back on the hook. And then what's on your hook is now going to go onto that second pin. And then one last time we're going to go through the cap band, so all 6 bands. This time we're just going to pull up 2 bands, back on the hook, and then this is going to come down to our 3rd pin. So I'll stick my hook back in my cap band here and kind of pull this out, and that's what it should look like. 2 bands from the cap band of the top one and the second one, and then the bottom one just has 1 set. And once you've done that, we'll go in through these 3 pins, and you just grab the top 2 bands and pull them back towards themselves. You'll do that for these 3. So like that. Then we'll do the same thing in the next 3. Just start pulling up the top 2 bands back towards themselves. Be careful in this center one here, it's kind of hard to get down through all the bands and find the right 2 bands to pull up. Just take your time. It's like the first time I didn't pull up 3 bands. So like that. And then what you want to do is take the first, have some junk bands or just some extra bands, because what we're going to do is you're going to puff up these 4 pins. So you take your hook, go through the bands that are on the pin, grab that band that we dropped while hanging on to it, pull it up, put it on the hook, then bring another band, pull it through that, and make a slip knot. And you'll do that for all 4 pins. You want them to be tight enough that they don't loosen up, but not so tight that you're not able to get them off easily. And one more. So it should look like this now. So we can take this off of our loom. I'm just going to take my hook and go in through the pink bands, in my case, and pull them off of the loom. Now I'll pull my hook out. So like that. You may have to straighten out your cap band, kind of pull on it to get the more triangle shape. Like that. So you need 2 of these. And then once you have those made, we can work on the loom. We're going to start in the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right around there. And you want the bands that you want for the top portion of your rocket. And we're going to start with the starburst. So from the center pin, take 2 bands out to the 6 pins around. Like that. Then on the middle pin, you want a cap band, 2 bands wrapped around 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Go in through your cap band, grab the top 2 bands, pull them up through, and back towards themselves. And you do that all the way around. like that. Then we're going to do what'll be 2 rows all the way around with 2 bands. So it's our first row. Like that. Then you'll flip the bottom 4 on all the pins. Push those down. We'll do our second row, same thing. Like that. Flip the bottom 4 again. Push those down. I'm going to kind of pop up the center here. So now we're going to increase everything. So I'm going to start up here on this top right, and I can just pick up the top 2 bands and bring them up a pin. There's no crossing of the bands here, and that's what we want. Down here though, if I just picked up the top 2 and brought them down, these would cross. I don't want that. So I need to pick up all 4 bands, bring them all down a pin, and then bring the top 2 back. And then over on the left side, up here on the top, I need to bring all 4 of them up a pin, and then bring the top 2 back. So there's no crossing. And then on this one, I can just pick up the top 2 and bring them down. Then for our middle pins, just grab the top 2 bands. You kind of see which side they're coming from and take them to that side. Same thing up here. Like that. Push down. So now we're going to do 2 rows all the way around. 2 bands. Like that. And then when we flip, it's just going to be the bottom 2 bands on every pin. Earlier today I just got it in my brain that I was going to make something for the 4th of July. So I made this one, and I was like, I love it so much, but it's really band heavy, so I know that like people won't probably want to make it because it's heavy or won't have time. They want to make it actually for the 4th. So I made a smaller one too. Busy night. So now another row all the way around. But they're both adorable, in my opinion. Like that. Then we'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Like that. And you want to push everything down. Now we're going to do an X row all the way around, and that is just taking the 2 bands, and when you place them on the loom, you're going to cross them. And you'll do that all the way around. Okay. Not that I need that many anymore, because I'm almost done with this row, or done with this color, I should say, for the most part. But get your X row on. So like that. And you want to push those down so you have a little bit of room left on the top of the pin, because we want to do another row all the way around normally with the 2 bands. Right on top of the row we just did. I'm actually kind of impressed with the purple this time, because usually it turns all white and crackly as I stretch it. Knock on wood somewhere. I mean, it is a little bit, but not as bad as it usually does. Alright, so that's what it should look like now. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the middle 4 bands, which are the X rows. So you just want to find that middle 4 band, and you're going to flip those over the top. So I have the bottom 4 from the row before, I have the top 4 from the row we just put on, and here's the middle 4, and that's what's going to go over the top of the pin. So you just have to kind of dig around in there and find it and pull it up over. It's not too hard to find because the bands are kind of obvious with the twisting. Alright, so we have this. You should have kind of 2 separate rows on here now. Make sure they're not connected. Make sure your right bands are over. Then what you want to do is we're going to go in through our top 4 bands, grab the bottom 4, pull them up through, take the bands off the pin, and then put the ones that are on your hook back onto the pin. So you want to do that all the way around. So through the top 4, grab the bottom 4, pull them up through, take the bands off the pin, and then what's on your hook goes back onto the pin. Make sure you get all 4 bands back onto the pin when you're transferring before you take your hook out. You can turn your loom whatever way you need to make it easier. All right. Everything is pulled up then. I'm just going to move all this stuff to the center. Push our bands down. And then what we want to do is we're going to puff all the bands with the main body color, so the white on this one. Don't need that much more. So it's 2 bands. You'll go through the bands that are on the pin, pull those 2 bands up through, back on your hook, and then you take the bands off the pin and put the ones on your hook back on. And you'll do that all the way around. Pull them up on the hook, pull the bands off, and then back on. Broken, that's why. It's kind of hard to pull a broken band out. Alright, everything is puffed. So now we're going to start our rows around, and for these we are going to add our little bands to it. So I want to take a band, and I'm going to start down here, which is right here if it matters to you. Take a band, wrap it around on my hook once, then pull through the 2 bands that are the main body color, and then just put it on the loom. We do something a little different in the next rows, but this is easy enough for the first row. I'm going to turn my loom, grab my next color, double it, and then pull through the 2 bands and put it on the loom. And just alternate all the way around. I always want to double them when I'm pulling them through. Turn again. And again. Now that I'm putting my little purple bands on for the stripes, I'm kind of wishing I would have used like teal. I think that would have been pretty. Just have to make it again. one more. So it should look like this. Single wrapped band on all the pins. So then you go ahead and you'll flip over the bottom 4 all the way around, which are the puffing bands. Push those down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our next row on, which is going to be the exact same thing basically, but to start I'm going to pick up the band down here and flip it up over the pin right here. And then we're just going to do that up the right side. Just pick it up and you kind of pull it out straight out so you know you got it the right way, and then just pull it up over the top of the pin. And do that for all of your stripe bands on the right side to start with. So it should look like this. Then we'll put on our first band down here, and then flip over those stripe bands. And the next one, flip over the stripe. It's pretty easy to grab them, but we'll go up the right side like this. Just putting the band on and then flipping over that stripe band. So to here so far. So I'm going to turn my loom around and I'm going to pull the bands the other way, the stripe bands away from me like I did before. Just make sure your loom is turned away from you so that it all kind of works out when we put the other bands on. Or put the row bands on, I guess would be a better description. We couldn't do it all at first anyways because otherwise this one would have been stuck underneath my first white band, so. But now you can turn it back around. Don't forget that band at the top. And flip over your stripe band. And again. And just keep going back towards the beginning. So it should look like this. Then once again we're going to flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Pull this up a little bit. Push everything down. So now we're going to do that exact same thing all over again for this next row. So starting down here at the bottom, I'm going to grab that band, pull it up over, I'll do that all the way up the right side. Like that. And once again, start down at the bottom with your bands, then flip over your stripe band. like that. And again, flip your loom around, and then we'll pull those cap bands up over the pins back towards the beginning. Like that. And you can turn it around or leave it this way, but just finish putting on this row and pulling those cap bands back as you go. Row as you go. It totally rhymed. And last one. So it should look like this. And once again, we'll flip the bottom 4. Alright. So to make sure, because we kind of do things a little bit differently, at this point you want to make sure you have 3 rows that come through a cap band, because then you're right on track with where we need to be. So 1, 2, and 3. So you'll push those down. Next is our eye rows, so you'll want your eyes. So right here, we're not going to put anything but, or we're going to put 2 bands there. There's not going to be a stripe there. So 2 bands. And then for the next spot, we're going to add our stripe again. So you could change it up and make it a different color, or just continue down with the same color that you were using. That's up to you. I'm going to use the same color. So another stripe band right here. Then our next spot is going to be an eye. Next spot is going to be another stripe band. Next spot is an eye. And then we're going to continue around. Well, let's do this next spot first with our next stripe. So stripe, eye, stripe, eye, stripe. Then on the end up here, it's again 2 bands with nothing on it. And now you continue around to the other side where you add on your stripe bands just like we did on the front. So like that. That's how it should look. So then you'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. and push those down. So you're going to want your fins for this row and your cheeks. So push. Starting down here on the bottom, if you look at your fin, it has a longer side and a shorter side. Start on the longer side, and you'll want to remove your holding band. Then take those two bands and set them across right here. Just so we have that in place. And now we want to grab our stripe bands that we just put on, pull them up over the pins on the front side, just like we did before. Go ahead and put on our first band, flip over the stripe, and you want to put a cheek on. And then you put on two bands, then flip over the stripe, another cheek, and then two bands, and flip over your stripe. So that's what it should be so far. So I'm going to turn this around, and once again I want to start with the long side. Take off that holding band and put it on the loom like that. Then we'll go ahead and pull up our stripe bands up onto the pin ahead of them. Like that, and add our bands and pull back the stripe bands as you go. So that's what it looks like. Then you go ahead and flip the bottom four all the way around. Push everything down. Now you'll want a band for your mouth. Whatever color you want on the hook, wrap it around into that figure 8. Then I'm going to grab the bands, hold them in my fingers like this, and I'm come up here on the front, so on the left eye, the pin by the left eye, stick my hook through, grab that cap band in my hand, pull it up through and up over the top of the pin. Go on, get up there. There you go. And then pull it down. So it should be wrapped freely around underneath. Then I go in through the right pin, grab that band, pull it up through and up over the top of the pin again. Pull it down. So now it's wrapped freely over both pins, and then I'll go ahead and flip it up. So now we're going to do another row around. So starting down here on the end, you'll take out another holding band, the next one up from where your band is attached. Take that out, grab those bands, put them on. And once again, we're going to flip our bands forward on the front. Now where you have the mouth, you want to grab the band like in between the mouth bands, like that, and then pull it up. And there's one back here. If there's anything underneath the cheeks to pull. So go ahead and put your bands on and pull back those stripe bands as you see them. So you can see the mouth here should look like this. And 2 bands. 2 more, flip over the stripe. And turn it. Once again, grab the next spot up on the fin. Go ahead and put that on the loom. And now we'll pull up the stripes on the other side. Like that, and then go ahead and finish out the row. By putting the bands on and flipping over the stripe. Like that. Go ahead and flip the bottom 4. We're getting there. Kind of unstick it here. Alright, push everything down. So we're going to do the row all the way around. We're going to add more stripes, kind of for our last sets here. What we want to do is I'm just going to start down here on the end, grab that next one up, put the fin on. I saw that. Fin on, then turn, and then again add your stripes, and this time we can add underneath where the cheeks are as well. Of course, it helps if I grab the right color. I was thinking I'm glad I planned that so that the purple was on the same line as the cheeks, so I didn't pick the pink color, but then my mind picked up the pink color. It's going crazy. I think that's kind of why I'm a little quiet right now during this tutorial, because it is very late and I am getting a little tired, and I'm afraid that I'm going to say something silly, and then you have these big muted out spots in the video where there's no sound of anything, not even the hook on the loom. So it's like, don't say that. Be quiet. So the front side, then again when you get to the fin, put that next one on. And then do stripes down the back side. Plus my throat is kind of scratchy. And the more I talk, the more it kind of gets irritated. I thought I was going to lose my voice a little bit earlier, so. Alright, so we have that row all done. So we'll go ahead and flip over the bottom 4 all the way around. That. Push it down. Now we're going to do another row around. So starting here with the last part of the fin. Go ahead and put that on. And pull up your stripe bands on the front side. And add your bands. Pull over your stripes. You know the drill. Like that on the front, and on the other end here, put the other fin on. And pull up the cap bands on this side, or striped bands as I've been calling them. And add your bands. Pull over the stripes. Alright, so now the fin's entirely attached. We have our stripes. You flip the bottom 4. Push everything down. We're going to do one more row all the way around, moving our bands, or our stripes. On the end here, it's just going to be 2 bands. And on the front, make sure to flip over your stripes. This will be the last time, or last row for these. I don't think it's too bad, just a little tedious. We'll put our bands on. Like that. And on the end, it's 2 bands. And do the same thing on the back side. Flip over the stripes, put your bands on. And add your row. Like so. Flip the bottom 4. No more stripes. I shouldn't have started talking now. I'm kind of feeling like I'm saying weird things. Weird. Like that. That's weird. My mind says no, but my mouth just keeps going. Alright. So now what we're going to do is reduce everything. So starting down here on this first pin, first you want to kind of unstick everything, tuck in the ends as much as you can. They have a tuck those in. So starting down here on this first pin on the lower right, I'll pick up the top 2 bands, and they're coming from the right side, so I'm going to take them over to the left. Then I'll pick up the other 2 and I'll bring those to the opposite pin. Then we'll go to the next one up. Pick up the top 2, they're coming from above, so they're going to go below. Other 2 will go above. Next pin up. You just keep seeing where it's coming from, and then whatever way it's coming from, you take it to the opposite direction, and then just grab the other one and pull it to the other way. And I'll flip over to the back. Pick up the top 2. They're coming from below, so they're going to go over here. Other 2 will come down. Next pin below, so they're going to go above. Next 2 will go down. Goes up, and that goes down. So you should be on 6 pins. So we'll do a row around, 2 bands across here, and then there'll be long stretches across the front. Like that. And then when we flip, you're going to flip it's be 4 reducing bands and then the 4 bands from the previous row. So you want to flip those all the way around. It'll probably be helpful to just flip part of it and then flip the rest of it because it is kind of tight. And you flip these over too as you pass them that are over the empty pins. like that. So now what we want to do is I'm going to move these closer. So on the front side here, grab the top ones up here, bring them down a pin, and then bring these ones up a pin. And on the back side, I'll bring these middle ones up a pin. And the bottom ones up 2 pins. Unstick it. Like that. So we're going to do another row all the way around. Like that. Then you just flip the bottom 4. I'm ready to take it off the loom, so I'll just take my hook and go in through all the bands around. Kind of tug on them a little bit. Then take 2 bands, pull them through everything. Both ends on. And for this, just kind of pull it down when you're pulling it tight. Hide your tail. Adjust anything we need to. Fix these little fins. Oh, so cute. Very girly rocket. Adorable. Yeah. Alright, so these are my adorable little happy rockets. I hope that you enjoyed them. I will say, I don't know if you noticed it, but maybe I was the only one who noticed it, but this girly one really reminded me of something else when I was making it, so maybe that'll be coming soon. So, I hope that you enjoyed them. And if you make some of these, you definitely have to share them with me on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, on my Facebook, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. There's links below the video. Of course, you need to subscribe so you know when I put out new stuff. Always like the videos because that is awesome and it helps other people find them. But thanks you guys so much. I hope you enjoy these, and I hope that I will see some of them soon. Thanks. I'll have more for you soon. Happy looming.